Panelimize isterseniz hızlıca enerjik bir şekilde başlayalım. Panelimizin adı Küresel Finansın Yeni Rotaları, Dijital Paralar ve Ekonomik İttifaklar. Konuklarım sahnede yerini aldılar. Moderatörümüz Ayşegül Sayın, Citibank Türkiye BT Genel Müdür Yardımcısı. Kendisine Almanya İstanbul Başkonsolosu Dr. Regine Gremberger eşlik edecek. Aynı zamanda IFC Orta Asya ve Türkiye Finansal Kurumlar Grubu Müdürü Alain Lang da yanı başında. Sözü moderatörümüze bırakalım. Buyurunuz efendim, hoş geldiniz tekrar.
Good morning and welcome, my distinguished guests, my dear colleagues. Thank you for being with us today. We have a very exciting topic to discuss with our esteemed speakers. I have distinct privilege today to moderate this session where we will explore the critical intersections between technology, finance, and global regional integrations. We have a special guest with us who will bring unique and invaluable perspectives to us today. As you know, we are living in an era where technology is not only supporting financial industry, but fundamentally is reshaping it. Every day, as leaders in finance, we are witnessing the evolution of artificial intelligence, emergence of digital central bank currencies, transformative potential of digital assets, and maybe more importantly, continuous need to foster sustainable economic growth and financial stability. I would like to invite each of you to share your quick bios with us. Consul General, can we start with you?
Thank you, Ayşegül. I'll try my best. So, first of all, thank you for having me. A very interesting topic that you were putting, on the program this time. So, my name is Regine Greenberger. I was appointed Consul General to the German consulate in August 2024. So, I'm here for a bit more than a year now. And a lot happened during this year. So although I don't consider myself a Turkey expert, I must say that I've seen quite a lot of Istanbul in this year.
Yeah, I imagine 1 year feels like 3 years in Germany.
Absolutely. But I'm posted here for 4 years, so this means then 12 years in a normal life. I'm a trained agricultural engineer and agricultural economist. So I'm a diplomat, but I don't come from law, political sciences, or history like most diplomats do. And that is perhaps also the reason why before I came here, my last assignment was the German cyber ambassador, which is a job at the intersection of technology and diplomacy. And I was also advocating strongly for digital diplomacy because with the digital technologies and the connectivity of digital technologies, on the globe, across the globe, there comes also the need for an negotiated international order to set the rules of the road for state behavior in the internet. So this is perhaps also a bit of a background with which I look on to today's question. Thank you.
Thank you, Regina. And I want to share one quick information I learned about Regina this morning. She has a beautiful surname, meaning Green Mountain.
It's a name that fits with my actual profession, agriculture.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. Alan?
Yes, thank you, Ayşegül. I'm pronouncing it well?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay, so pleased to be here for the first time in the Istanbul Economic Summit. I am then Alain Unke. I do run financial institutions business for the International Finance Corporation, covering Turkey and Central Asia, the stands as they call. And I've been here for a little over a couple of years, and before then, I used to have similar roles. The last one being in Johannesburg in South Africa, and it's exciting to be exchanging with you about topics like, the digital role in finance, especially being a very dynamic area of our economy, and having to onboard digital trends in finance is really an exciting topic to talk about. Very important also to say that we in the IFC or the World Bank Group are very excited to continue to support the Turkish economy. We've been active in this economy for a little over 5 decades, and covering some large segments of the economy. Just to give an indication, like last year, as a World Bank Group, we were able to deploy as much as $10 billion for the Turkish economy, within which, the private sector did have about $4.7 billion. So things are going well in terms of our role and our contribution to the Turkish economy. And what we believe can help even support the advancement of the local economy is supporting, trends like digitalization, which we play a great part of. And this is also some elements that we want to talk to you about today.
Impressive backgrounds.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for setting the stage. So let's dive in to our questions. As a technology leader and as a former central bank employee, one of the hottest topics on my radar is central bank digital currencies. Counsel General Regina, what is the German position on the introduction of central bank digital currencies?
Thank you for the question. And although I'm not a currency or finance expert, I follow this discussion with a lot of interest. I think like all consumers do, because this will have also effects on the consumer side. When digitization and interconnectivity becomes a standard, why should our money be exempt from it? So when instead of printing money, the central bank now issues digital money, I expect that digital transactions and transfers become much more simple. A recent survey that I saw counted 87 countries that represent over 90% of the global GDP, which are currently exploring central bank digital currencies. And 9 of them have already fully launched a state-owned digital currency. Even in Germany, and we really love our cash money, we saw a shift in payments habits towards digital, towards contactless payments and e-commerce. And that was during the pandemic, during COVID-19. Other than the social distancing during the pandemic, it was also the rise of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. Bit of a hype, of course, but also a new technology that was contributing to this trend. I mean, cryptocurrencies have seen significant developments and also value gain. And the technology is very advanced now. And there are more and more applications that allow over an API, so an interface, to also implement a digital currency, which makes it feasible, workable. And this is why Germany now also supports the development of a digital euro as a form of central bank digital currency, but as a complement, not as a replacement to cash. We still love our cash, and it's also a symbol of our national and, in our case, European identity. Let me say a few words on the state of affairs. The European Central Bank and the German Central Bank the Bundesbank is part of the European Central Bank system, has concluded the preparatory phase in October of this year. Next steps will include the build-up of technical capabilities and the preparation of pilot tests. We expect European legislation to be entering into force in 2026, next year, meaning that the first pilot will go live in 2027, in 2 years, and the digital euro could be real in 2029. So Germany has always emphasized that a central bank digital currency must be carefully designed, ensuring that the benefits clearly outweigh the risks. And as benefits, we see, as I said, more efficiency with digital payments to be executed in a safe and quick way, especially for cross-border transactions within the SEPA area. On privacy, and that is as a recovering cyber ambassador, I have to say this, our idea is that a digital euro must, but also could offer a very high level of user protection, comparable to that of cash. Privacy is perhaps one of the most important design features for the German public. I see that there are also in the European Parliament a lot of discussions about this element. Another advantage is, of course, that because it will be central bank money, it will be free of charge. So there are no fees for cards or per transaction. Considering that card payments, especially internationally, are controlled essentially by two companies, that is Visa and MasterCard, it has also become a concern that this affects our financial sovereignty. And the digital euro, together with the central bank handling it, will help with that. Some argue that the central bank should leave digital payments to commercial banks. This, however, neglects the fact that already today, that central bank is in charge of most payment or transfer systems. For one example, due to the lack of effective coordination between commercial banks, there is until today no European Union-wide card payment scheme outside of Visa or MasterCard. As risks, we see risks to the financial stability and to the effectiveness, of course, of monetary policy, and also that wrong design choices might threaten cybersecurity and worsen data protection issues in digital payments. The lack of security might turn into a severe lack of trust from users. Security concerns in this digital currency infrastructure, whose security requirements and expectations are high, may turn into a significant loss of that trust. Current analysis by the Bundesbank, so by the German central bank, focusing on the risks, indicate that those risks with the digital euro should be manageable. One aspect is the interbank use, wholesale use. Germany is open to that use of the digital euro as a central bank digital currency, particularly to support high-value payments and transactions on this DLT, so distributed ledger technology. So last point, we are also engaging in an international dialogue on the introduction of digital currencies with other central banks, and the Turkish central bank is included. So we had last year a joint workshop of the Bundesbank with its Turkish counterpart in Istanbul on CBDCs, and we spoke on interoperability, cross-border payments, and financial stability, offline use, and also smart contracting. There is a representative of the Bundesbank that is permanently positioned in the German consulate as the liaison officer, as the interface also for the Turkish central bank, and there is a continuous dialogue on the introduction of digital currencies between the two central banks. So let me stop here for the beginning.
Regina, this has been very insightful explanation of Germany's thoughtful approach to digital currencies. Thank you very much for sharing. Alan, we discussed digital currencies. Let's start talk about the fuel of the financial system,
Right.
capital. IFC plays a vital role in unlocking private sector potential, especially in emerging markets. As part of IFC's mandate to mobilize private capital, how do you crowd in long-term private investment through the financial sector in Turkey and Central Asia?
Thank you again, Ayşegül. I'm proud to say we have made mobilizing capital to support emerging markets a key priority of not just the World Bank Group, but the International Finance Corporation. To give an indication, last year, up to $69 billion were mobilized by the entire World Bank Group.
Impressive.
Because we believe that we only cannot be up to serving the development needs of emerging markets by just our own capital. And this is why it is important that we use our convening and catalyzing power to crowd in, other capital providers into supporting development need in the world. So within the World Bank Group, IFC last year did generate up to $45 billion of mobilized capital, as part of its investment program. And within that, specifically in Turkey, where last year, in terms of long-term funding, we were able to provide up to $3.5 billion. We mobilized up to $2.5 billion, right? So this is clearly a key priority that we have to not only fund or support by direct funding investment project, but also, crowding and catalyze the involvement of other capital providers to support our program. So this has been a key indicator of our performance in the KPIs, as they call it, and we call it the mobilization ratio. So now we are obliged for each of the dollar that we invest to also mobilize at least one more dollar from other capital providers, right? And to take an example, last year in Turkey, we were able to achieve a 1.1 mobilization ratio, right? Mm-hmm. So we intend to do that more because we do believe that there are other capital providers than us that could be actually crowded in. And we do that using a number of different instruments, right? One of our preferred instruments is what we call the debt securities syndications, which will have a platform where we have other financial institutions that are part of that platform. So for each of the projects that we intend funding, we sort of mobilize them into funding with us the same project, right? We do that including with some other DFIs, okay? We do that co-lending with other DFIs, and many of our projects in Turkey have a joint financing of IFC and other development financial institutions, right? We also do that in terms of our ability to be a co-investor in a number of projects. What it means is that once we put at least 10% investment as an anchor investor, it creates the interest of other investors to come along with us, okay? So our anchor investor role, especially in Turkey, has been growing significantly. If I want to mention 3 landmark projects we supported as anchor investors in Turkey, and that was essentially in a sustainability area. We had the Ulker project, right? We had the Renaissance project, and we had the Jimco project. So 3 landmark projects for which IFC was an anchor investor, and being an anchor investor was able to attract other capital providers into the same project, right? So this is to say it remains at the core of our role as a DFI, as a development finance institution, and we intend to keep enhancing that through different means. I was talking to you, Ayşegül, that even with corporations like Citibank, okay, we have programs whereby we mobilize Citibank to come and support, in Turkey, for instance, some trade program. So we do that in Turkey with Citibank. We do that with Sumitomo Bank, SMBC, amongst others. So these are just some of the ways by which we believe that having to manage the challenge of capital shortage, having to bridge the funding gaps that emerging markets have, and having to use our convening power to then mobilize and crowd in other investors is what is really at the core of our strategy. And Turkey is one of the main beneficiaries of our mobilization programs.
Thank you, Alan.
Yeah.
Very clear explanation and very impressive figures and very good examples. Thank you for sharing again. Regina, digitalization sometimes blurs the borders. Digitalization presents tremendous opportunities, but also brings new challenges and risk. Strong governance structures and maybe proactive global cooperation seems crucial for the future of finance. From that point, let me ask your last question. What role should multilateral international organizations play in shaping the future of the financial landscape?
First of all, a bit in commenting also what Alan said, I think this example shows clearly that also in the finance sector, financing of big projects has to go beyond national borders.
Right.
Not only because the money is needed, the capital is needed, but also there is a shared interest when it comes, for example, to projects for climate protection, international transport routes, this is something that really connects us on the physical level and then also, of course, on the financial level. And Germany has always been a strong supporter of this multilateral approach. So to team up, to join forces, to do it together, we consider ourselves to be a middle power. So we need others to go forward. We're not a superpower that can shape the world as we like, but we have to coordinate. We have to cooperate. So for a middle power, it's very important to develop a rules-based order, and this applies also to the international monetary and financial systems. Multilateral institutions are then really decisive for stability of this system. And as I said, only if we have this kind of multilateral cooperation, we can really address global problems, but also make use of global public goods. So climate change, I mentioned it already. Financial inclusion is another one, and you worked on the African continent before. You know that this is really an issue.
Right.
That sustainability, and then there is also this oversight or supervision role of multilateral institutions, which play a major role in ensuring good financial governance, meaning transparency, public participation, also tax policy that is sustainable. Perhaps a couple of words on the IMF as counterpart to the World Bank. We see this also as an anchor of stability. It has played a role also here in Turkey. It monitors this macroeconomic and financial risks. It advises countries, and it provides financial support when needed. I was in the working in the unit that covered the euro crisis, financial crisis, economic crisis in the years 2008 and afterwards in the European Department of the Foreign Ministry. And I remember very vividly the discussions that we had, especially with our Greek counterparts, on the role of that the IMF should have, and we defended, of course, all the time that the IMF should have a role, but it should stick to its core mandate also. So rather than diverging into, for example, development financing or development tasks, so that other institutions like the World Bank are more appropriate. I see it, like you said, the same way. These international financial institutions have really a role, or are essential in mobilizing also private capital, and at the same time supporting structural reforms. So we support very much the multilateral development banks in promoting sustainable development, also infrastructure investments, if climate friendly, and the resilience. And we contribute also funds as Germany in multilateral institutions, for example, in the World Bank, for green development and also for crisis response efforts. And these are needed all the more every year. We also participate as Germany actively in international financial governance forums like G7 or G20. And the presence of my colleague Sebastian as a Bundesbank representative is linked to that. Bundesbank put representatives in all G20 countries to be more aware of the events and of the developments in these partner countries. We also support reforming the international financial architecture to make it more resilient, but also to make it more equitable, especially in response to the global geopolitical challenges, to the climate risks, and also to the debt crisis of some countries. Thank you.
Regina, thank you very much. As one of the biggest economies in the world, Germany, I believe, will play critical roles in the shape of the future money. Thank you for sharing Germany's contributions in these international organizations. Alan, this year we witness a fantastic intersection between technology and finance. İşbank digital bonds was a significant milestone. As a technology leader, it was very exciting to see how blockchain technology applied to such instruments. So IFC invested in İşbank's first digital bond issuance this year. What advantages do digital bonds offer?
Thanks, Aisha. First of all, it's important to mention that as a development finance institution, we're very proud to be associated with the modernization of the financial sector infrastructure, including in Turkey. And it's important to mention that digitalization is a key part of that. We see digital bonds as the bonds for the future. And digital bonds, just to mention, are different from traditional bonds in the fact that it is all issued and it's also managed on the distributed ledger technology, on a DLT. And what does it mean, being on the DLT? It means, first of all, that it brings in more security and transparency in the process. It also means that anyone can access buying a bond. Okay, this is what they call the fractional ownership. You know, any Turkish citizen that wants to be part of this bond investment can do that even from 1 year, right? Contrary to the traditional bonds where you have some threshold which is higher. So it is a kind of democratizing bond investment, right? And it also offers in a sense, much more liquidity because you can easily trade using the GLT or the blockchain platform. So liquidity is facilitated by the digital infrastructure, and because it also helps a quicker settlement. We're talking about T+0, whereas the traditional bonds would be T+2 or more. This is really settled instantly, so T+0. It involves also some costs, lower cost as a result of this efficient platform. And so for all those reasons, the digital bonds, as I said, are much more convenient and will be the bonds for the future. So we were therefore very honored to pioneer digital bond investment in Turkey. And the first ever digital bond issued by a private banking institution in emerging markets was the İşbank digital bond of June 2025, for which we were investors, right? So this was really a landmark, event in the entire, financial world. And because it had such a strong repercussion on the market, we've seen other financial institutions looking to also issue digital bond instruments, right? And just last week, we had a second digital bond investment in Turkey with Akbank for $100 million as well. It's very important to mention that beyond the digital bond platform instruments, it's also good to understand why are we investing into these bonds, okay? You mentioned the İşbank digital bond of 100 million. The purpose of this investment was to support reconstruction efforts, especially in the financial sector, in the 10 earthquake-affected areas of Turkey, right? So it's very important to mention that, right? And because, as you know, banks after the earthquake had to slow down their lending into the areas, but we believe that it's important to sustain lending in the areas, especially looking at supporting small and medium-sized enterprises, farmers, right? And therefore entrepreneurs, and therefore this 100 million bond was meant to support İşbank lending more into these areas, right? Especially in the earthquake-affected provinces. So this is important to mention. So we use the platform to reach some critical developmental goals, especially in the most affected areas. Okay. And the second digital bond that was issued last week for Akbank was the first ever gender bond issued on a digital format. So the first ever digital gender bond, because we believe that gender in Turkey is also a critical topic for the Turkish economy and what we call the country partnership framework in Turkey, and hence supporting gender empowerment, supporting reducing the gender gaps, supporting also access to women, to mortgages for women, was the purpose of this second digital bond investment. So in a way, we're looking to not just help in improving the capital market infrastructure by using the digital format, but we're leveraging that to reach certain critical development finance goals, whether it's financial inclusion, agri, gender divide, you name it, right? And we also do that by empowering all investors, as I said, any Turkish citizen, to use the digital platform to contribute to this critical project for the Turkish economy.
Very inspiring developments, Alan. Thank you for sharing, and I am personally very impressed of the purposes of these investments. Thank you for investing in Turkey as well.
Ayşegül, can I comment briefly on that?
Please.
there was a digital summit of the United Nations. I think it was in 2024, three
Right.
or four.
Right.
And it all countries, in the United Nations, it's one country, one vote. So all countries were involved in this. And the final statement, so the summit declaration, showed very clearly that there is a really broad, global, universal understanding that digital technologies can help to reach all the sustainable development goals. So you mentioned gender, poverty, and at the technological state where we are at the moment, with smartphones, with handheld personal devices, some countries managed, like Kenya, Rwanda, India, managed to leapfrog other technologies and move directly into online finance and e-finance. And they are really championing also this field. It's very inspiring also for Europe. And I think there is still a lot of room for further development in order to, create more access to the financial system, also for people who are not really wealthy or have no infrastructure available to really get through institutions. The digital technologies allow a direct access to finance.
Absolutely.
Indeed. It's a big step forward to the future of capital markets.
Definitely.
So before closing our panel, is there any final remarks you want to make?
I must say, first I start with that. I think that the Turkey in this field, the future of finance is already very advanced. I see a lot of openness with people they are curious, they experiment also with this. So I think the starting point is very good. For us, from the German point of view, of course, everything is connected. So I wonder if the risks of data protection and privacy, but also cybersecurity. So really information security, keeping the information where it should be and not letting it leak out to, for example, criminal organizations, it is properly handled. I think that is necessary to really keep the trust in this technology. Otherwise, I must say I congratulate the Turkish consumer in being so open and really taking the advantage, benefiting from what these technologies allow.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Yes. Look, I will have to say, when we talk about Turkey, we talk about the turbulence that sometimes takes place in Turkey. We always celebrate two things in Turkey's people. It's resilience, and it's also agility, right? Agility to be able to adapt to change, is a changing environment. And resilience and agility can only be well supported by the digital trends, right? So embarking in the digital world, including in the financial sector, is the way to go. We're proud to see that Turkish companies have shown that ability to not just adapt, but show agility to adopt digital trends. It is the way to go. It is a trend which is irreversible, right? And we would, as IFC and as part of the World Bank Group, be always supportive, whether in terms of funding, but in terms of capacity building also, right? Supporting organizations that are willing to embark into those trends.
Thank you very much for your final remarks as well. So, as we closing our panel, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to our esteemed panelists. Thank you very much for sharing your time, your wisdom, your invaluable perspectives with us. Please join me to thank our speakers.